Okay, let's do this. We are going to end on YouTube, move to Rumble. 3, 2, 1. Booyah. I think we're alone now. That doesn't. Okay. Oh, the last question that came up from nobody's alt but mine says, do you really think Nirvana are the most overrated band of all time? I can only gauge it by a band that I don't like as much as they have been hyped up. I don't think anybody likes Nirvana's music. It was good. It reminds me of childhood, but Blink 182 all the way. And Oasis. I love Oasis. Okay, so are we good here? Let's see this. We are good. And we got a Rumble rant from Kenzie67 says, I hope you will have Christine Anderson MEP on next month when she arrives. You were there. She would love to meet protesters. I'm not going to be in Canada, Kenzie. I'm not going to be in Canada, but I'm going to try to get her on for a stream for sure. Vile Dong, $5 Rumble rant says, my father got the mRNA, got myocarditis, had a heart attack later, got the COVID, died from immune system overreacting, but it was a milder death than normal. Bleep Pfizer. Well, you know what? On that segue, first of all, Vile Dong, anger, sorrow and anger, but they keep pushing it. Also, that's just, despite everything that we're seeing, they just keep pushing it. They're pushing a jab for a prior variant from what is currently in circulation on demographics who were never at any risk to begin with, knowing that it doesn't stop transmission. So that argument of saving granny has failed, knowing that it causes myocarditis in 1 in 5,000 for the specific age bracket of young men. At least, by the way. And then the new study came out that showed adverse events of special interest, 1 in 800. Yeah, and they're still pushing it. And I'm called the anti-vaxxer. And I make the joke that if anything ever happens to me, I'm going to get laughed at by both sides. Those who know that I got the jab are going to say, oh, that's what you get. Those who don't care that I did are going to say, that's what you get, anti-vaxxer. And that's it. But they're still pushing it. Now, Vile Dong, speaking of Pfizer, speaking of expletive Pfizer, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last week, Project Veritas came out with, it was so outrageous of an expose. What's amazing is I want to know how the people who wrote it off as totally fake, Vosh, I'm not looking at you, but I'm looking at you. Do I have that tweet? It was so outrageous that some people just said it has to be fake. Hold on, I know that I sent Project Veritas a tweet. I want to go into my. Here we go. Let's get this one. It was so outrageous that people had to just explain it away by saying it's totally fake. They get an undercover camera of a guy on a date talking about how Pfizer is working with mutating the Rona so that they can then provide vaccines to the mutation, which they have either engineered or had a hand in engineering. Not entirely clear what the mechanism was that this individual was describing, but he's basically saying we're mutating the virus so that we can have a vaccine ready for the mutation that we've mutated. I'm going to get to the video in a second. It was so egregious and it was so shocking and so over the top that some people's only way of dealing with it was by saying it's fake. The guy on the date, they put together the video. He says how Pfizer is mutating a virus so they can have vaccines ready for it. Then, and we're going to play a portion of this. James O'Keefe from Project Veritas confronts the guy, and he has a bona fide mental breakdown. For anybody who has not ever seen someone have a mental breakdown or has not had a panic attack themselves, it might look fake and it might look like total acting, or it might look rehearsed, or it might look like, it was a bona fide mental breakdown akin to the last scene of American Beauty when Kevin Spacey's wife walks in and, just like, you get your clothes off. Just, you want to destroy that iPad that caught the statement of this individual. He needed to steal the iPad from James O'Keefe as though he could somehow destroy the statement that he made that he knows has been memorialized on the interwebs. Vaush comes out and says, this new Veritas story is completely fake. They literally just made this guy up. He's a 30-something nobody who apparently just randomly and invisibly became head of Pfizer's worldwide R&D division with no experience, and there's no way to verify it. And it goes on. The individual, has been identified. The connection to Pfizer has been identified. The idea that he was making up everything that he said and that he had no knowledge, no way of knowing it. Well, I would dare say that by Pfizer's own press release that came out at 8 o'clock on a Friday when everybody's eyes are on it, the Friday afternoon document dump exists for a reason, because Friday, 8 o'clock in the evening, there's nobody reading the news. There's nobody paying attention. And that's why they usually dump the worst news on a Friday afternoon to miss the weekend focus and to miss the new week coming into focus. Pfizer's statement in response to this basically confirmed the Project Veritas story. But the first thing is we got to watch this, because this is the recording. No, that's David DePop. That's this. Oh, here we go. No, that's the new Veritas story. Here we go. Why I could never do what Project Veritas does. The world needs all sorts of people, so I presume it needs people who are like me, who are not like James O'Keefe. This story, and James O'Keefe knows it, whoever the person on the date with the guy was knows it as well. In order to break this story, and in order to reveal this truth to the world, you have to destroy somebody. You have to destroy somebody's life. And it's the harsh reality. And whether or not if I found myself in similar circumstances, knowing that what I was hearing needed to be brought to the attention of the world, but knowing that in so bringing it to the attention of the world, I would be destroying this person. Everybody should read James O'Keefe's American Muckraker, his book on journalism, journalistic integrity, and all that stuff. It's a phenomenal book. I didn't read it. I listened to it. James O'Keefe knew by publishing this story, they are going to be destroying this person's life. I don't think that feels good, even if you think the person deserves it. So check this, and then we're going to go on to Pfizer's addressing this story. It's a totally fake story, which is why Pfizer has to try to debunk it with a Friday afternoon press release that basically confirms it. We're not going to watch the whole thing because it's long, and everybody should go watch Project Veritas itself. But here.
Hey there. Is this seat taken? You work for Pfizer. My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public
as reaction
the fact that they're mutating the COVID viruses?
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd.
Please don't touch me. Well, this is not. By the way, don't tell anybody.
Who's just working at
the individual says they were lying to impress someone on a date, as though lying about genetically modifying a virus that could destroy humanity is the way to impress a date. Set that aside. Set that little logical conundrum aside. Hey, you know what would really impress my date? If I told them I worked for Dr. Evil, that will really impress them. Hey, dude, you want to see some mutated viruses? Oh, that's so. Set aside the idiocy of that explanation. This is not the reaction of a man who knows that he was lying. This is the reaction of a man who knows that he wasn't.
Company to literally help the public. You really did. Please bring the cost as soon as possible.
So then he tries to lock them in the store. Yeah, it goes on, but I want to get to the absolute meltdown. How do I fast forward? Where's the part where he goes at? Here you go. Look at this. This is full meltdown. Oh, is it not going to play? It's my internet. I'm going to blame the kids. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, press play.
Taken?
There you go.
You work for Pfizer. My question, they locked this in.
Look at this.
Wow, look at that. Yeah. Do you want us to leave or not?
Man, we locked the door.
He goes after the iPad.
Man, we're trying to leave, but you locked us in here.
call our attorney.
Can you please unlock your door? Let us out.
No, I don't know what's going on. I don't want anyone leaving. Please, no, don't let them out. Don't let them out.
On the door.
Here we go. There it is.
Stop. Wait for me.
Please unlock the door.
What is going on
Some
here?
stuff. Please unlock the door.
Okay, and it goes on. It's like he needs to destroy the iPad because the iPad, in that moment of absolute panic, when he realizes his life is effectively altered, getting that iPad is a way to try to somehow erase, just for the moment, make believe it didn't happen. It doesn't happen. Oh, by the way, false imprisonment says oversold. Yeah, they locked the doors. The pizza place locked the doors and locked James O'Keefe and Project Veritas inside. Okay, doesn't matter. This is the guy who says I'm lying. We don't mutate viruses. I was just lying to impress a date, and the video, to say it's gone viral is an understatement. Daily Mail writes an article about it, just writes a write-up of Project Veritas, only to quickly delete it for reasons we can all imagine. I'm sure Pfizer and other pharma companies didn't say, take that article down, or we're going to no longer buy advertising to your flailing online, what the heck is the word I'm looking for, publication. Daily Mail takes it down. I tweeted at the author of the article that was taken down multiple times to ask, just to confirm. No response, neither from the Daily Mail nor from the journalist who saw her work deleted from the interwebs. This guy's lying, right? He's lying. Well, Lila, I need my plug back as well. The kid took the plug from my computer, and I need to make sure that this doesn't go dead. Bring it over here. Bring it over to me properly, please. Don't put it in. Thank you. Leave, close the door, and leave the dog in here. Sorry. Okay, computer's back on power now. All right. The guy's lying. Journalists write an article about it and then take it down, and it's a media blackout. It's a media blackout everywhere except for where it seems to be the last bastion for journalism, Twitter. Thank you, Elon Musk, although I know you've had your problems with other issues. But so the guy lies, journalists cover the story, then disappear. Okay. Friday night, I believe it was 8 o'clock, Pfizer releases a press release, and the press release is almost pathological in its. People have called it a word salad. It's not a word salad. It's not verbal diarrhea. In my humble view, it's an admission. It's a confirmation, but it's a rephrasing. So hold on one second. Here's the Pfizer. Here we go. This is the Pfizer press release, by the way. Based on today's visit, how would you rate your site experience? Boom. Next. Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, do we do this? No. That's not nice. Okay. That's not nice. Get out of here. Stupid ads. Pfizer. They're responding to Project Veritas, but not naming Project Veritas because you don't even want to acknowledge Project Veritas. I don't know what people call it a signal boost. They're saying Pfizer's trying to avoid a signal boost. I don't think that's technically what a signal boost means, but I don't care. What they're basically saying is we're not even going to say what we're responding to. We're just going to issue this statement. Let's read through this statement. By the way, Dr. John Campbell did a great one. Anybody watching John Campbell's evolution in real time? Dr. Campbell has gone from blue pill to red pill. And I dare say, although I might be projecting because I've been very angry this weekend, to black pill. But his dissection of this, it looks a little more like black pill than anything else. But let's just read this, people, because Pfizer responds to research claims. Oh, what the hell are you talking about? We all know what you're talking about, Pfizer. Can you not even be honest and transparent in your response? How about you're responding to accusations you are mutating viruses for financial gain by mutating or participating in what is typically referred to as gain-of-function research so that you can have a vaccine at the ready to bank all those sweet, sweet government bucks? Why don't you just say that? Pfizer responds to Project Veritas allegations. Or if you don't want to talk about Project Veritas, Pfizer responds to a parent employee who ran his damn mouth a little more than he should. You know what? You know what? Okay, hold on. Let's take this out of here for a second. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know what this statement should have said? Well, if Vaush is right, this statement should have said, we have no idea who that whack job is. He has no position of authority at Pfizer. He has no business saying what he's saying because he has no knowledge to even say it in the first place. Nothing in that expose is remotely true. And we condemn them, and we're threatening to, we might sue them for defamation because of the damage that they are causing to our reputation by literally tacitly accusing us of being war criminals, okay? Or maybe not war criminals, crimes against humanity. We're not at war, although we are, but it's not a war crime. It would be a crime against humanity. Pfizer's press release, if this story was false, coming from someone who has nothing to do with the company, has no knowledge to make the statements, should have been a categorical, that guy's a whack job. He doesn't have a position of authority. What he said is outright false. He has no reason to even think he knew anything enough to say it. Project Veritas exploited this to besmirch our reputation, and we are contemplating legal action. That's what it should have been. When it wasn't that, we can get suspicious. When it's an 8 o'clock Friday afternoon document dump, we can get suspicious. Angela Ansel, $5 Rumbrand, says jail time after a fair trial. Sorry, I just read it. It says Felis Rufus, a $1 Rumbrand, says, I have to ask, have you read The Last Circle by Cherry Seymour? I guarantee I haven't. What's happening now is an echo of then, but on a much larger scale. So that is what a proper, predictable response would have been from Pfizer. But no, let's read, shall we? Pfizer responds to research claims. Friday evening, 8 o'clock, while all of you are sleeping, having your martinis or barbecues in my case, or both actually in my case. New York, January 27, 2023. Allegations have recently been made relating to gain of function and directed evolution research at Pfizer, and the company would like to set the record straight. Let's set the record straight with a load of shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Shiat. Because I love Oasis so much. Can I expand this here a little bit? I can't. Okay, it doesn't matter. Wait, hold on. Why can't I? I should be. It doesn't matter. They want to set the record straight. By the way, this is also grammatically incorrect. This is grammatically incorrect. This is it's a run-on sentence. It has two separate ideas that should be. Allegations have recently made regarding evolution at Pfizer. The company would like to set the record straight. Listen to this, by the way. It's not because I'm a lawyer that I'm reading more into this. It's because I'm a lawyer that I know how this was drafted. This here is drafted accordingly, deliberately, so they can deny something without having to admit what is true. Listen to this. In the ongoing development of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, in the ongoing development, it doesn't mention anything about past development. Right now, they're not saying in the context of the development, which would include past, present, and future. Right now, actually, they're only making a statement to present and future, but more only to the future. No mention to the past. In the ongoing development, as of today, by the way, we're not doing it anymore. Stop it, so that this statement is true. Hey, dude, who just ratted the beans out. Other than the fact that you're fired and you probably have to, be very, very uncomfortable for the next immediate future. Stop doing it as of now. Therefore, we can say ongoing development has not conducted gain. How could you even, in the ongoing development of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, Pfizer has not conducted gain of function or directed evolution research. Now, I think I know what directed evolution means, but go listen to John Campbell for a better explanation. In the ongoing development, we have not conducted gain of function. Oh, in the past, we might have. In other vaccines, we might have. But as of now, going forward, we're not doing it anymore. Working with collaborators, which is probably not the best word you want to be using here, Pfizer. Albert Bourla, collaborators has also a historical context, but forget that. Working with collaborators, we have conducted research where the original SARS-CoV-2 virus has been used to express the spike protein from new variants of concern. What does this mean? Working with collaborators. So, by the way, remember when Fauci came up and said, we don't fund gain of function research? And we don't do that. Oh, but I'm sorry. Are you not funding a third-party NGO that's doing it? Okay. Well, that's not gain-of-function research. One lie to the next. But remember, when Fauci said, we do not engage in gain-of-function research in a lab in Wuhan, China, lie. Oh, we don't do it directly. Oh, okay. Now that you found out that we do it indirectly, that's not gain-of-function research. Moving goalposts of a pathological liar. Working with collaborators, we have conducted research where the original SARS virus has been used to express the spike protein from new variants of concern. This work is undertaken once a new variant of concern has been identified by public health authorities. This research provides a way for us to rapidly assess the ability of an existing vaccine to induce antibodies that neutralize a newly identified variant of concern. We then make this data available through peer-reviewed scientific journals and use it as one of the steps to determine whether a vaccine update is required. We've worked with collaborators, taking the old virus, using it to express the spike protein from new variants of concern. Okay. I can't tell you exactly that I understand exactly what that means, but I think I understand what it means. It sounds like a way of confirming through rephrasing specifically what was being admitted to in that video by that guy. In addition, to meet US and global regulatory requirements for our oral treatment, Paxlovid, Pfizer undertakes in vitro work, IG, in laboratory culture dish to identify potential resistance mutations to with a naturally evolving virus, it is important to routinely assess the activity of an antiviral. Most of this work is conducted using computer simulations or mutations of the main protease, a non-infectious part of the virus. So we do it using computer simulations or mutations. Where are those mutations coming from? In a limited number of cases, when a full virus does not contain any known gain of function. In a limited number of cases, when a full virus does not contain any known gain of function mutations, such virus may be engineered to enable the assessment of antiviral activity in the cells. Do you know what this sounds like to an idiot lawyer like myself? In cases where there's no known gain of function mutations, we make them happen. We then engineer the virus to do just that. Other people will tell me if they're reading this the same way. In addition, in vitro resistance selection experiments are undertaken in cells incubated with SARS-CoV and in our secure biosafe level laboratory to assess whether the main protease can mutate to yield resistant strains of the virus. It is important to note that these studies are required by US and global regulators for all antiviral products and are carried out by many companies and academic institutions in the US and around the world. How about, do you conduct any research in countries where gain-of-function research is not illegal? Fact-based information rooted in sound science is vitally important to overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic, and Pfizer remains committed to transparency and helping alleviate the devastating burden of the disease. All right, here are my questions. What the hell did you just say? The guy in that video, did he lie? Are you conducting research in countries where gain-of-function research is not outlawed? And what is your response to the Project Veritas release? This is something that is drafted to be deliberately confusing so that people can say, this is too much of a headache for me Friday afternoon, people. I don't want to listen to this. But what are they saying in it? In the ongoing development of the Pfizer has not conducted gain-of-function or directed evolution research. In the ongoing development, makes no mention of the past. And I just love this. I just love this part. In a limited number of cases, when a full virus does not contain any known gain-of-function mutations, such virus may be engineered to enable the assessment of antiviral activity. So that sounds like gain-of-function research, Pfizer. That sounds like Pfizer manipulating, mutating a virus so they can have a vaccine at the ready. It sounds actually exactly like what that guy said in that Project Veritas video, just a lot more confusing, so that people can't understand what the hell you're talking about, but it sounds like that's what you're saying. Oh, and by the way, when I initially said this, when I initially assessed this, and I said, well, it doesn't have to be like Fauci level evil, Wuhan level evil, gain of function research. It could just be one of the theories from the beginning of the pandemic, where if you vaccinate into a pandemic, you force mutations and you force variants of the virus, which is one of the arguments against vaccinating into a pandemic. It could have just been that. If they know that the vaccine that they're selling and banking billions of dollars in profits for, if they know that it's not working, because you can still get the virus, you can still carry the virus, you can still transmit the virus. If you know that it's not working in that sense, but you know that it is forcing the virus to mutate, to become resistant to the vaccine, because this is not my theory, this is the theory of people much smarter than me. Well, if you know that that's happening and you continue to push this vaccine anyhow, knowing that it's causing mutations, variants that will be resistant to that old, non-updated well, you're effectively engaging in some form of mutation, deliberate, knowing mutation of a virus. Much different way. But it sounds like they're actually doing it in a much more direct way than I was even giving them the benefit of the doubt for. It sounds that they are actually doing it. They're actually doing what this guy said, but they have such a beautiful way of rephrasing it. In strains where there's been no gain of function, we might engineer it. That sounds like gain of function. That sounds like mutating a virus. But maybe I'm just an idiot lawyer who has no idea what he's saying. And the smarter people than me who I listen to make sure that I know what I'm thinking, they're dumb as well. The only smart person in this is Albert Bourla, the guy who said his vaccine was 100% effective in South African studies, April 1st, 2021. Please check out Upper Echelon, especially his videos on Mario Nafo. He would also make a great sidebar guest. That's from Chronologic, a $1 Rumble Rant. Oversold, $3 Rumble Rant says, overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic, but it's clearly endemic now. The whole release is full of lies, mischaracterizations, and obfuscation, released on a Friday night. Sammy, sorry, I thought that was Sammy. $10 Rumble Rant says, we may be seeing the impact of when companies put ESG at the top of their priority. This guy doesn't grasp the science being discussed at meetings and repeating what he thinks to flex insider info. Sammy, this guy doesn't grasp the science being discussed at meetings and repeating what he thinks to flex insider. Here's the problem. It sounds like he understood well enough, because it doesn't sound like there was one damn thing in that Pfizer release that even contradicted what the guy was saying. Sammy says, Dark Horse podcast, Brett Weinstein, Heather Haying, go over the issues with the science he's talking about. Episode 159, link on Brett talking about the issues. Okay, good. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope Brett's gonna come on sooner than later so we can talk about this. But that's my assessment, and from smarter people who know more than me, having watched them. But just strategically, as a lawyer, that entire press release is obfuscation. It is rephrasing in a deliberately confusing, but arguably defensible manner, but one that nonetheless does not contradict the essential accusations being made. In the ongoing, we have not. Thank you. Care to elaborate? Anyhow, so that's it. Dark Horse podcast is obviously amazing. It's obviously an amazing podcast. Nathan ITC says, did you know that the song Wonderwall was not about Oasis singer Neil's then girlfriend? It was about an imaginary friend who's going to come and save you from yourself. Source, 1992 BBC interview. All that I know is that I loved Oasis. It brings me back to a part of my life that brings back visceral, ephemeral, olfactory memories. I was in Paris in 1999. They were playing on my birthday, May 23rd, 1999. The bastards had a falling out. They got into a fight and they broke up and canceled the show on my birthday. Could you imagine? I mean, I guess they've made all the money in the world anyhow, but what they could have done if they could have just figured out how to get along and work together. But that's it. And I do love Oasis. Now I'm thinking about some of their songs. Yeah, they're great. They're great. But I also love Blink-182. Okay, so that's Pfizer. That's Project Veritas. That's a line of work. James O'Keefe doing the Lord's work, despite the toll that it takes, and fantastic stuff. Okay, let me see if we missed anything here. I missed 2 super chats. I missed this one here. Melissa Wood says, super late to the party, Viva, but Trudeau is the ultimate soy boy. I loathe the way they speak to us, the plebs. Oh, and we got a new member, Kat. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, bub. How do I get rid of that? Okay, here we go. Now we're back to Rumble. Jeffrey Livery says it's like most bands, usually drugs, though. In Oasis's case, I mean, they would get drunk and nobody responds properly when they're drunk, but ego. And you imagine, like, bands are corporations. They are little companies, and they're like marriages. And if you don't respect each other's position in a marriage, and you don't give everybody the benefit of the doubt in a marriage or a business relationship, shit's going to fall apart. Someone asked me once upon a time what the key to a successful marriage is, as if I could pretend to understand. I mean, it means marrying the right person and having that person tolerate you for your foibles. But in business, I've found little law anecdote, like in business, in marriage, in life, having a happy marriage is no different than having happy relationships. And it typically involves giving the people who deserve the benefit of the doubt, respecting what they do, acknowledging what they do, and not taking everything as a personal slight. If that doesn't happen in any relationship, whether it's marriage, friendship, or business, it will fall apart. Yeah, Brett and Heather are evolutionary biologists, and they're married. So Heather is Brett's wife. Okay. All right. So that's that. What else do we have here? Flipping de pop. All right. Paul Pelosi, David DePop, the news of the week. Another Friday afternoon dump, I think, give or take. Two things were, I don't know if they were both released last week, but at least one definitely was. The video of the break-in of Paul Pelosi, getting attacked by Dave DePop. Paul Pelosi video. I'm going to grab this. I'm not going to show the strike, and not because I'm trying to be compliant with algorithms or anything. I don't like looking at. I've gotten old now, and I cannot really tolerate violence anymore. So I'm gonna play it right up until the moment, and then we're gonna look at this, and then we're gonna. So the video was released months later. Well, I'm trying to find a window that I can get this through. We can go. Okay, I can replace this one. No. Here. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's go.
Video released Friday, recorded by a San Francisco police officer's body camera, shows a door opening on a bizarre scene.
How you doing?
Paul Pelosi in pajamas, alongside another man, both holding onto a hammer.
Drop the hammer.
Nope.
Hey. What is going on right now?
Stop. Okay, we're gonna stop it there. It's okay. So we'll start from the beginning here. Everybody's looking at that video, trying to break it down, trying to find anomalies, including myself. I mean, trying to make sense of what on its face makes very little sense. That is the video of David DePop assaulting Paul Pelosi after having allegedly broke into his house. That video was also released. Did I just close everything down here? Some people are saying, why does Paul Pelosi look the way he does? Why is he holding a drink in his left hand when he's, basically in a life and death struggle? And Nate Brody, I was talking with Nate and Hunley on their stream on Friday, makes a good point that, everybody looks at this and you're looking for a perfect victim. You're looking for what makes sense. And geez, under these moments of immense pressure, nothing makes sense. I mean, some people are saying, Paul Pelosi looks drunk. Well, he might have been drunk. He might have gotten drunk and fallen asleep, which might be why he didn't wake up when he hears, when someone's smashing through the back window, which is why he might wake up potentially very drunk, have no idea what's going on, might actually think this is like a nightmare or a dream. Why does he have a drink in his hand? The drink had ice in it. After they fell to the ground, you could see ice cubes on the ground. Who holds a drink when they're dealing with a hammer-wielding intruder? Some people are saying, was he in a buttoned-up fancy shirt and underwear? That looks suspicious. So others might say, okay, he's drunk and he got drunk and fell asleep in a buttoned up shirt. Others are saying, well, that might be pajamas. It's sometimes you're not going to make sense of situations which on their face don't make sense. The question is, people are going to look at that and say, does it look like these people don't know each other? And that's, I've watched everything now. I've listened to David DePop's interview with the San Francisco Police Department. 17-minute video. I've highlighted certain sections of it, which we're going to go through. I've listened to the alleged voicemail that he left at Fox News, or not voicemail, phone call that he phoned into Fox News. I watched the video. I've been following this from day one, saying something doesn't make sense about this as relates to the original narrative. And this is where, people are going to have different levels of theorizing here. Some people say Paul Pelosi doesn't exist. Some people say it's a total hoax from the beginning, never actually happened. Some people say they're actors, it was staged. I don't even believe that Paul Pelosi was struck in the head or injured as severely as he was. I'm at the level of my cynicism about this. I believe the event happened. I believe David DePop is deeply unwell. I believe that Paul Pelosi was actually injured. I do not believe the narrative that this was a MAGA Republican-inspired conspiracy theorist. Part of me, after watching all of this, wonders if there was a prior existing relationship between these two, if they even knew each other. Not like that type of relationship. Did they know each other? Part of me feels that they did have a prior existing relationship, and acutely missing from everything here, from the interview with David DePop and the police department, statements about how did David DePop know where they lived? And some people think, yeah, you could find it, it's public, and yada, yada. That's fine. But the police interviewing David DePop, of all the questions they asked him, did not ask him, how did you get the address and how did you know where to go? Didn't ask him. I don't believe that, I don't know. There are photos circulating that seem to show maybe prior knowledge of one another, but that's the extent of where my cynicism goes on this. It happened. It might have an embarrassing underlying element to this, and it was immediately weaponized for political purposes, and shamelessly so. That video comes out, and the fact that it comes out months later, like 2 months later, is suspicious. Had they released it within a reasonable time frame, I think a lot of people would have not had as many conspiracy theories as they do have, which leads me to believe that there might be some motivating factor to be deliberately lacking transparency, so you can get people to start coming up with theories. So then you can then say, look how crazy they are. They're coming up with conspiracy theories. They should be mocked, instead of just allowing for as much transparency as reasonable, so that people don't go down certain rabbit holes and don't come up with certain theories and don't republish certain articles. Part of me believes there is political gain to be had by being deliberately non-transparent. And call me cynical, I think that's why some entities deliberately go out of their way to not be transparent, to let people come up with crazy ideas so that you can then dismiss all of those ideas. Okay. Oh yeah. So hold on one second. Do I want to bring this back up? Yeah, I'll bring one thing back up just so that people can not make this mistake in the future. So some people were saying, why does it say 9:30 at the top? I thought this happened at 2:30 in the morning. Okay, so apparently this is, I don't know what the Zulu time zone is, but this is under the universal time constant, such that it would have been 5 hours ahead. It would have been 5 hours ahead for San Francisco time. So that's the time zone issue. I would not make any hay of that to say that this is otherwise fake. But let me see what this. Questions that I do ask myself: who would be having a drink in their hand when they're in a fight for their life? But then maybe there's other psychological elements that can explain that away, and I can live with that. I listened to DePop's interview with the San Francisco Police Department, and I'm going to bring it up because not only is it fascinating on its own, comparing it to the alleged phone call to Fox News, which some of you may not know happened, but apparently DePop called Fox News, some local Fox News station in California, from jail. And what he said in that phone conversation other than contradicting his plea of not guilty, sounded bizarre to say the least, but sounded bizarre on its own, but especially sounded bizarre in comparison to his interview with the San Francisco police. So let's walk through this a little bit because it's actually quite fascinating. Let's not get to the head of ourselves here. So first thing here, I'm not the first person to notice it. Why do they have an interview with no video? I don't know what to make more of it other than to just say, I've seen police interrogations. Why on earth? They know who this guy just attacked. Why on earth would they not have a video? And if they do have the video, why on earth are they not releasing it? First question. But listening to the woman who's doing the interrogation, she's good. Let me listen to this.
Police Department. I'm in the Special Investigation. How you doing right now?
I'm good.
Small talk. How you doing?
Yeah, that's okay.
I prefer to nap, but I feel good.
Okay.
I'd prefer to nap.
To nap.
To nap. Okay. Do you think you could stay up for a little bit, or?
I'm good. You have some questions?
I do. Yeah. David, you spelled your last name Vepape? Okay, first name David, Davi.
So it's good. She's asking him, first of all, from what I understand, she's asking him questions that you're allowed to ask without Mirandizing an individual. And she's asking him friendly questions, getting him to feel comfortable and, warming him up to the discussion, which she does, and she does it well. And he then goes on to discuss freely and openly. Now, hold on, I'm just going to my notes here. At about 4 minutes, I think I remember something interesting.
Like, Watergate, right?
What?
Watergate, right?
Yes, of course.
Watergate.
It's like, whenever there's a scandal, we name it XX-Gate, right?
Yeah.
This becomes the findings.
Just listen to his voice and listen to the inflection in his voice. Because he has actual real human inflection in this recording compared to the Fox call, which we're going to get to. But dude, he's talking about Watergate. It's, okay, listen.
Scandal. And all Watergate was spying on a rival campaign. And it's like, when Trump came into office, what they did went so far beyond spying on a rival campaign. It is just crazy.
You mean like her efforts to smear him, or are you talking about?
Like Hillary and the DNC.
Right.
And it's like, it originates with Hillary, but Pelosi ran with the lie.
Okay, so then he says Pelosi's a liar like you've never imagined. There's another highlight around 6 minutes here.
To another crime, and it's just like the whole fucking 4 years until they were finally able to steal the election. And it's unacceptable.
So I guess, what was your intention to go there to make her change her ways?
Well, I was going to basically hold her hostage, and I was going to talk to her and basically film her what I do.
And hold her hostage and do what?
And talk to her. If she told the truth, I'd let her go scot-free.
Right.
If she fucking lied, that was going to break me down.
Did you really think that she would, sorry, this thing is so goofy. Did you really think that she would?
Tell the truth?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
It's interesting. I mean, the way the cop is asking the questions, it's almost like she's entertaining his ideas and almost not encouraging them, but she's good at getting him to talk and getting him to feel comfortable by entertaining his ideas and being. Did you really think she was going to talk? Oh no, absolutely not. Okay, we're gonna keep going, but so this was what was reported at the beginning. You'll recall at the beginning when this happened, they were saying he's alleged to have said in interrogation that he was going to stay there and hold her hostage, but they didn't. I don't know when they released this video, but so this fits some of the initial reporting, but not all of it.
I knew beyond a doubt.
Yeah.
Fucking lie.
Okay, what he says, he's going to get into how he cut his hands entering the property, but if you watch the video, it does look like he put on gloves before smashing the window. So interesting. Listen here.
Plan. I mean, do you regret that you did this?
No, it needed to be done.
Okay, but Paul, the person you attacked is.
He was not my target. I even told him that.
Yeah.
So
what was your plan with him? You knew He already told you she's not home.
I'll tell you.
Right.
So I basically get there and I see like the best way to get in is probably the lower door. So like it
You
is
say
camera.
lower door,
So there's like a
on the
glass.
side.
The best way to get in is the lower door. Like, just to my blinders right now, does it sound like he knew Pelosi from before or was familiar with the property from before? That's what I'm listening for. And I would have asked some other questions. How did you get there? Why did you pick that door?
Door.
Yeah.
And there's all glass. And so like I hit it and like
And by the way, listen to what he says in a second, which in my view indicates, where is it at the next time? Yeah. In the next few seconds indicates that he was familiar with the area. Listen.
How did you get in? Like, did you break?
How did you get in, but not how did you know where they lived?
You say lower door,
So there was like a
on the
glass
side.
door.
Yeah.
And there's all glass. And so like I hit it and like and basically
How did you get in? Like, did you break it?
it was not easy. That is like special
Is that how you
glass.
cut your hand?
Probably actually.
Yeah.
That shit is not normal glass.
Right.
Holy shit. So I hit it pretty hard and it doesn't, it cracked it enough to leave a mark,
Yeah.
but not enough to like break it.
Right.
And at that point it's like, well, the mark is going to be seen and like, they will definitely, like, there's cameras everywhere. You know, like every second house has a ring thing on it.
Of
And the
course.
cops can go seize that for evidence if they need.
Sure.
And at that point it's like, well, the mark is going to be seen.
Listen
and,
to what
like,
he just said there.
they will definitely, like, there's cameras everywhere. You know, like every second house has a ring thing on it,
Of
and
course.
the cops can go seize that for evidence if they need.
I mean, maybe I'm trying too hard. That sounds like he's familiar with the area. That sounds like he's been there before. And the fact that it seems that the only question the cop did not ask him is, where did you get the address from? How did you know where he lives? Now, I appreciate some people in the chat are saying it's the address is public knowledge. She didn't ask. She didn't ask, which is very curious. She didn't ask how he knew their address or how he got their address. It's not so obvious. But that he says all of those houses have security. All of those, every second house has a ring camera and like maybe I'm looking too hard. That to me sounds like he's familiar with the area.
Sure.
There's no way I could walk from where I came from to here without being on like 1,000 cameras.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm already busted.
Right.
So
Okay, so now that's the interesting part. I think that's about it for all. Then he describes what happened. The part that I also flagged was around 13:45 because you want to hear the way he says the word tyrant compared to later. Listen to this.
and then he's like, so he tries to like lie manipulate. He's all like, oh no, the cops, they're not doing anything. And I'm like, I don't know if I said this, but I was definitely thinking it. It's like, dude, I'm not fucking stupid. And they're not fucking stupid either. There's no way they got that fucking phone call and they ain't fucking coming here.
Why didn't you think about leaving just out of curiosity? I mean, you knew they were coming. Why didn't you just leave?
Well, it's like, you know, the founding fathers, it's like, they fought the British.
Listen
they
to
fought the tyranny. They didn't just fucking surrender to it.
Yeah.
And
Tyranny. Just listen to the word
when
tyranny.
I left my founding fathers, it's like, they fought the British. They fought the tyranny. They didn't just fucking surrender to it.
Okay, now we can stop. Some things of interest is that in the interview, he explains how he let Paul Pelosi call the police. That he knew he was calling the police, and that when the police get there, he knew that, you know, there was no realm in the universe where the police were not coming in once he had placed that call, which is very interesting. And then you juxtapose that to the video when the cops show up, and the only question I ask myself is, does it look like these two people did not know each other? Okay. Someone also said people in the chat and Rumble were connecting a potential apparent alleged passenger in Paul Pelosi's vehicle when he had an accident a little while back, or when he got pulled over for DUI. Some people say, hey, maybe it's the same guy. Who knows? Let me go here. Is this the one where he calls? Not now. Oh, no. Oh, we're going to come to Happy Gilmore's grandmother, except evil. Afterwards. Get this out of here. I want to go to the call that he placed with Fox News, the alleged call. Okay, it's not that. It's not that. Oh, here we go. Okay, listen to this, people. So for those of you who don't know, apparently he called in Fox News, a local affiliate station, and this is only a portion of the call. But compare the inflection and the voice that we just heard to this.
Have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying, it's being killed.
Thank you for calling me. What did you see the video earlier today?
Oh, sorry, I didn't start from the beginning. Okay, here.
What's
Listen to this voice. And again, I had this reflex before I even thought about conspiracy theories. I was like, that voice, it sounds like a robocall. Like it sounds like one of those. I get these calls from the government all the time. Sometimes they're in actually Mandarin for whatever the reason. Thank you. Yep. Listen to this.
what do you want to say? Because they released, as you know, they released the video earlier today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. What did you want? Thank you for calling me. What did you want? What did you want to tell me?
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome.
Am I crazy, or does his entire voice change? Right? Does the entire inflection? Now that you've all seen the body cam footage, I have a message for you. You're welcome. Listen to that again.
For calling me. What did you want? What did you want to tell me?
It's crazy.
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying, it's being killed, systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses. So I got their names and addresses so I could pay them a little visit and have a heart-to-heart chat about their bad behavior. The tree of liberty needs watering. You need men of valor, patriots willing to put their own lives on the line and stand in opposition to tyranny. I would also like to apologize. I want to apologize to everyone. I messed up. What I did was really bad. I'm so sorry I didn't get more of them. It's my own fault. No one else is to blame. I should have come better prepared. I spent all my time exposing government corruption online, only to have them silence my freedom of speech as quickly as they could. They circumvented the Constitution and private industry. When the ruling class outsources the repression of your civil rights to private industry, it's called fascism. I have a lot more to say. I had a website of over 300 pages. That's 300 pages of stuff they don't want you to hear. I'm in the process of trying to set up a new site out of the reach of tyrannical global homo fascists and their internet censors.
Can you, I mean, if you were to ask to get every buzzword of what government wants to censor online, if you were to get every buzzword, it would be, you got it in that 96-second clip. Every single buzzword of what governments ordinarily want to go after, and they use this individual, this lunatic, as the pretext to do it. I might be getting too cynical in my old age, but it doesn't mean that the people are not up to something real sketchy. Like, just because you're paranoid does not mean they're not trying to get you. Lord of the Ree, I presume that's a salty cracker. Yeah, well, look at that. Says, if it walks like a psyop and talks like a psyop, like that audio recording, that sounds like a conversation or whatever. You know, if you wanted to give government the pretext to say, look at how risky this is, online, look, these are the exact same things they're talking about, fascism. If you say fascism online now, it's going to be promoting violence. If you talk about globalists, it's get all the words in there of what the government wants to suppress in general, and then give them a reason. This barking lunatic, to the extent he's a real human, and now we get to go after, like, online talk has real life consequences, and this guy's the perfect example. This is why we need to censor the internet. It's very convenient. It's almost like an orgy of evidence. Fat Slice, $5 Rumble Rant says, Viva, Pelosi's house is frequently the site of protests when she is in town. The absence of Capitol Police is highly unusual, as is the lack of video from their cameras on the property. So, and you know what? I'll bring, let me actually, now that I remember, before I forget, let's do David the Pap break-in. CCTV. So this is the one that I saw. Okay, let's bring this one up here. Gonna do this. Oh no, I gotta do this. Come on. Oh, come on. What's with my fat fingers? I can't get the thing to minimize. Okay, here we go. The only point of interest in this that I noticed is he shows up. This is the footage. Let me see that we're looking at the same thing. We are. He shows up and then goes back to get his backpack, which is interesting. I mean, he's got a massive Can you imagine this guy's like walking the street at 2:30 in the morning, walks into an area where there presumably should be a lot of security with two massive backpacks. Now he goes into the backpack. Remember in the interview, he said he cut his hands. He said he cut his hands trying to break through the window. And the only thing I thought I noticed of interest is that he puts on gloves. Now, maybe they're not thick enough gloves to prevent from cutting your hands on glass, but he's putting on gloves right now. Now, maybe they're just surgical plastic gloves. It doesn't look like they are, but I couldn't tell. Maybe they're just plastic surgical gloves and they got shredded when he broke in. And now it looks like he's going to break in. We got the time is 5:09 a.m., October 28th. So some people are going to pick on the time and say this can't match up. Others are going to say it's just, I don't know, someone made the wrong time, or 3 hours ahead. Maybe it's East Coast time versus West Coast time, and it's 2:10 a.m. And by the way, I'd like to just point out that I appear, if this is real, to have been right on the window theory. Everyone's like, how did the glass come on the outside and not on the inside if you smash through it? And well, he says it's thick glass. And so I smashed the hammer through, and then, looks like he's pulling the glass out as he gets in. And this is him breaking into the property and going through the window, allegedly. Now, does he go back and get the backpacks? I'm curious to know. Doesn't look like it from this. Starts in the beginning. Let's close that down. All right, so that was the break-in. It looks like he put on gloves. Were they not sufficiently protective to prevent him from cutting his hands? I don't know. Hold on. Let's go to Rumble. There was people say staged. Keeping time is hard. Let's see. I hope I didn't just pull out my camera again. Okay, I didn't. Okay, let's see what we see. This is all lies, says Raymond Shamus. Or they staged this 3 hours later. Dude, the fact that the times don't match up is going to fuel doubt. The fact that they immediately ran with a right-wing Republican nut when they knew or ought to have known that this guy was a nudist, green card registered Canadian, it means they're lying to you. They were lying to you from the first minute. Why would they stop now? What was in the backpacks? That's another good question. Who said that? What was in the backpack? Those were big backpacks. Hope Love 2022. What was in those backpacks? So, unfortunately, whatever they've released, 2 months, October, November, December, January. What is it? October, November, December, January. 3 months later. What they've released 3 months later is not going to quell very many people's concerns, and it actually only raises a lot more questions. But my question is, okay, they protest outside the house, fine. But that means DePape knew where the house was from prior protests and had been there before. How did they not ask him that question? And what is the answer to that question? More importantly, what the hell is up with that audio recording of that call that he allegedly made to Fox News? It sounds like a robot. I'm not saying it's a robot. I'm saying that anybody who says that doesn't sound like a robot is lying to themselves and to others. All I have to say is, I'm sorry. I should have done more. And it's markedly different from even the first 7 seconds of that audio recording, and it is radically different from that interview, which we now know, to the extent it's DePape, we know what he sounds like when he's feeling a little more comfortable. Holly Perrin, as the last comment, one of the last comments in YouTube says, Rumble is banned in France. I can't see you when you go there. Damn it. Well, Holly's not going to see this message, but I put the entire stream up, A, on YouTube tomorrow anyhow, and B, I put it up on locals as well, so that people can watch it. The people in France who can't see this because France is asshole, and they block it, and Rumble fights for freedom of speech and doesn't bend over backwards. And if you don't have a VPN, you don't get to see it. Okay. So yeah, I put the entire stream on YouTube tomorrow anyhow. And What was I going to say? I totally forgot. Oh yeah, and I put the entire thing on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I got distracted from Rob A's comment, which says Viva's neighbor in Quebec. This is all Viva's undercover story. Dudes from Canada. Blame Canada. Jin VR $5 rum brand says, have you looked at the original stills? Where are the steps? And I just got a notification that says Salty Cracker is live. Well, everyone, you're going to go. I know you'll go over to Salty Cracker after this. And we don't have much time left anyhow, but we have some good stuff left here. So that's what's up with Paul Pelosi. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. And two questions the cop never asked. Did you know Paul Pelosi before? There are photographs out there that indicate they might have had some connection. And how did you get the address? Those are two questions I want to know. Other than that, I don't doubt that the incident occurred. I just have no doubt that it was disingenuously and dishonestly weaponized for political purposes so they could go use it to demonize Republicans, MAGA Republicans, extreme MAGA Republicans. If you're Hakeem's Jeffrey, repeating the line maliciously, dishonestly, as politicians do. All right. Let me just segue back to Canada. Jeremy McKenzie, people, are we at $30,000? Yes. Let's see here. I set a ridiculous goal. $29,645. The latest updates from Jeremy McKenzie, Diagolon founder. As far as I'm concerned, politically persecuted, despite whatever mean things he said, debanked by Scotiabank a week and a half ago. I got a copy of the letter. He published it as well. They've explained nothing other than the fact that it doesn't fit their risk profile. A man who benefits from a military pension. He's been debanked from Scotiabank. He has not been able to find a substitute bank. They gave him 30 days to pack his stuff and leave. He has not been able to find a new bank. I said, I've had enough of this crap coming out of Canada. People want to call Jeremy McKenzie an anti-Semite. Part of me wishes he was an actual anti-Semite, so then I can say, as a Jew, I will stand up for an anti-Semite. Part of me wishes he was actually a legitimate bona fide anti-Semite, so that I could therefore say I'm actually taking a really, really concrete stand, a really moral position. I will defend anti-Semites. You know what the problem is? Dude's not an anti-Semite. He's not an anti-Semite. I don't even think he's a bad person. He has a sense of humor that is not one that I would ever make publicly because it's not my thing. He's not an anti-Semite. The stupid joke that he made about Pierre Poilievre's wife, bad given his profile, bad given his current life situation, bad given the overall mood of the world. I've interviewed him. I've now had many discussions with him privately. He's not an anti-Semite. He's not a bigot. He's not a misogynist. I actually think he's done very good things for a community of people who were hurting during COVID. He might be his own worst enemy in terms of the things he does and says. So that's it. I started the Give, Send, Go, and it's at nearly $30,000. And the flipping cowards at the Canadian legacy media are just not covering it. They're good. They're pulling a full blackout, like the media on Pfizer, just full black. Any attention is more attention than they want to give it. They don't want to talk about how the banks in Canada are debanking people because people will make a run on the banks the same way they did during the Emergencies Act. Nobody wants to be talking about Pfizer. Arguably risking humanity so they can make another $1 billion in profit. Sammy, $10 Rumperant says, sorry, didn't mean to imply Pfizer isn't doing gain of function, just that there's a lot of questions to ask. Absolutely. And I don't want anyone thinking I'm picking on anyone in the chat or super chats. We are adults and we'll have disagreement, but it's a lot easier for me to express my position thoroughly and meticulously because I've got the microphone. And so sometimes things don't come through in a chat. I take nothing personally, and I hope everyone out there takes nothing personally, unless I say this is a personal attack, which is, not something I haven't done. So it is only called a run on the banks when they don't have your money. Raymond Shamus. Well, that was by many people's accounts what put an end to Justin Trudeau's invocation of the Emergencies Act. People were running on the banks, and the banks were saying, we don't have the cash in the bank to give these people their money. And they were limiting people's withdrawal amounts. They were limiting how much they could take out on a daily basis. And then they called up Trudeau saying, what the flip are you doing here, man? You're messing things up. Undo the mess that you did. And they did. And now that and Scotiabank apologized for freezing the bank accounts of some of the convoy members. And now that things have quieted down, they're back to China level censorship. And people say, well, banks don't have to do business with anybody. It's not their risk credit. First of all, water companies don't have to provide water to anybody. If they think that guy's an anti-Semite, don't provide him water. Don't provide him electricity. Don't provide him telephone lines. Don't provide him internet access. Oh, I'm sorry. That's called communism. That's called tyranny. Whatever it is, what you want to call it. That's not Canada. People are free to be anti-Semites and still have water service. They're free to be anti-Semites and still have a bank account. Because if you think that this censorship stops at anti-Semitism, personal attack, you're an idiot. Okay. There I said it. What did I? Oh, sorry. Okay, so I got Sammy's super chat. Okay, we're almost done, people. Saving the best for last, and we are saving the best for last. Let's watch this. First of all, everybody remembers Happy Gilmore? Tell me this doesn't look like Happy Gilmore's grandmother, except evil. I know what she's about to say. Now I no longer like, because I liked Happy Gilmore's grandmother. She was a beautiful woman, and she was too old, but she looked nice. Now that I know what this woman's going to say, nothing.
Yes, I hear what you say about somebody exercising their freedom not to have a vaccine, and they're perfectly healthy.
Now, by the way, I don't know how old this is. This is not new. This is a montage. It doesn't matter. Like I'll tell you at the end of this, I now no longer need to wonder how historical atrocities could have been committed.
I don't want them sitting next to me in the theater.
Awesome. Now do racial and ethnic minorities, ma'am. I don't care how clean they are.
And they're perfectly healthy. I don't want them sitting next to me in the theater.
Nobody recalls back in the day, the one way you got people to hate their neighbors was to say that they carried viruses, carried diseases.
I don't want them standing next to me at the theater bar. I don't want them next to me or anywhere near me or even in the same carriage on the train.
Well, I've got a bloody idea for you. Stay the hell home, woman. It's so bloody hard to understand. If you don't want that, stay the hell home.
So, they can exercise their freedom by staying at home.
If you decide...
How about you?
That you don't want a vaccine or a booster, then you can decide not to go to hospital however ill you get.
Never again wonder, people. And it's not just that it's one lunatic who's getting lambasted publicly for having made these statements. I'll tell you one thing. They know who they are, if ever they're watching, and I don't think they're watching. The people who wouldn't get in a car, the people who would not take a carpool with us because of our kids' medical status after having asked, you know what? I was still going to give them a lift after they asked. I know some people would say, if someone asks your vaccination status to get in your car for a carpool, I would reflexively tell them, F off and take an Uber. Some people would do that. I got past that. I was like, okay, we're living through crazy times. Some people are weak. Some people are scared. You've asked me that question. It's egregiously offensive. We'll get past it. I'll still give you a lift home. And they didn't get in because one of our daughters was dirty.
And that is your right.
So you would leave the unjabbed at home to die if they had a heart attack, if they suffered from a stroke?
That's their choice.
That's their choice. Oh, you want to practice that specific religion? That's your choice.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get...
I'm going to skip this one because these copyright prostitutes at that network will claim an entire stream if you use a clip. That's Jimmy Kimmel saying, "Hey there, Wheezy, you didn't get the jab. You get treated last at the hospital." Jimmy Kimmel, we have a shared history. Jimmy Kimmel and I, our families do.
That the vaccine is the ticket back to pre-pandemic life. And the window to do that is really narrowing. I mean, you were mentioning, Chris, about how all these states are reopening. They're reopening at 100%. And
Just do it. Just do what the government says. You'll get your freedoms back.
And we have a very narrow window to tie reopening policy to vaccination status.
You know what that's called? Coercion. That's called coercion. In some cultures, in some laws, it could even be, is battery the right one? The threats of violence to coerce action?
Because otherwise, if everything is reopened, then what's the carrot going to be? How are we
No, hey, if everything's reopened, there won't be a carrot. There'll just be a stick.
going to incentivize people to actually get the vaccine? So that's why I think the CDC and the Biden administration needs to come out a lot bolder and say, if you're vaccinated, you can do all these things. Here are all these freedoms that you have. Because otherwise, people are going to go out and enjoy these freedoms anyway.
People who refuse
and this is Noam Chomsky. This is like the older melted version of Rage Against the Machine becoming Rage for the Pfizer machine. This is Noam Chomsky, who has some very interesting political beliefs. This is Noam Chomsky. Listen to how far. I never really considered him to be much of an intellectual mind, except when it came to his one work of art, which was Manufactured Consent. And he was good in some of the linguistic development stuff. Other than that, but listen to how far he has fallen.
Yep.
Fear, people. Fear is the most powerful force that can skew and taint human reasoning.
Vaccines. I think the right response for them is not to force them to.
Don't force them.
But rather to insist that they be isolated.
Giving up your human right is justifiable. It's justifiable to take away a person's bodily autonomy when you have a global pandemic.
Those who haven't had jabs but could have jabs need to have a badge saying unjabbed.
Really?
Yeah.
We just have to make people understand that,
amazing.
no jab, no life. And that's how it is.
Oh, bloody hell. It's amazing. It's, for those who say there's no such thing as mass formation psychosis, you want to give another word to that? Be awake, not woke, says Viva is awesome. I'm gonna have his kids, although I'm male, LMAO. Watching you wake up is gold. It's been a slow evolution. Slow and then all at once. I'm done. Once upon a time I saw Gina Carano, should not, it's risky to make the analogies because people will weaponize it and deliberately misinterpret it and deliberately mischaracterize it to make you look like an insensitive bastard. This isn't the Holocaust. How can you dare suggest? Here. And it's the same, by the way, the same mental gymnastics with anyone who says, Viva, that's terrible. How can you make an analogy like that? Well, here's how. My grandfather escaped Poland in 1933. And he was the only member of his family that left Poland. There were 24, 25 others. We have one picture. Everyone in that picture died in the Holocaust except for my grandfather. And had he not said, this is getting bad, this is not getting better, well, I wouldn't be here. Or at least I wouldn't look like this. Who knows what I would look like? And then people say, well, Viva, if that's your history, then you should know better. This isn't Nazi Germany. No, it's not. But only by degree, not by essence. Only because there's no trains. It's not the same. History does not repeat, but it rhymes. Mark Twain. Stars, discrimination based on medical status. I don't want those filthy people near me, is exactly what they said at a certain point in the history of Germany. Carry the plague. They carry disease. They carry vermin. That's why they have to be put in ghettos, locked up in government-designated quarantine facilities. It doesn't have to be identical in scope to be similar in nature. And what we've witnessed now, neighbors turning on neighbors, people openly promoting active discrimination against people based on their medical status, but they thought they were right in doing it. Oh, I'm sorry. As if that hasn't always been the defense historically. We thought we were right when we were doing it. But very rarely do people think that what they're doing is wrong as they do it and continue to do it anyhow. That's the beauty of whipping up a society into an absolute frenzied state of terror, in which they will tolerate atrocities of varying degrees against their neighbors. Britt Cormier, $10 Rumbrand, says, who knew that Frank Herbert's words in a fictional novel were so true? Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I like that. V6 Neon $1 Rumble Rant says the first 2 British women are nutters. They are also recently announced that they have cancer. Both have been lovies of the establishment and hider of Jimmy Savile, the child rapist evidence. Well, I'm going to cough for a second. Dry throat. That was a $1 Rumble Rant. Thank you very much. Isolate the filthy. Noam Chomsky, one of the greatest philosophical minds. Isolate them. Oh, well, at least they're not calling for violence against them. That would maybe that would be too much like other eras. Oh, I'm sorry. When Justin Trudeau comes out and says, "Do we tolerate these people?" That's only 1 degree off from cut down the tall trees on radio stations in Rwanda. Okay. Do I feel better? I'm not sure. Everybody, we have done what we came here to do. What we're going to do now to end this stream, many of you don't know that I have a second channel, or a third channel, I should say, called Viva Family. Rumble, for whatever the reason, it cuts off if I end the stream too quickly, and then people who are watching it lose the last couple of minutes. So what I typically do when I remember is play an outro video. I'm going to play a portion of this, and then I'm going to remind everybody that I have a second channel. I hope I didn't just... Son of a bee sting. Hold on, skip ads. Okay, let me do this. Hold on. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to go back to Rumble. I'm going to share the link. I'm going to share the link so you can all go watch this video afterwards. After you go, tune into Salty Cracker. Give them a good. Let them know from where you came. After you do that, you can watch this video or before. But right now, I'm going to play us out with this video. It's when I went kayaking at the beach. Now, before I go, everybody, don't give them the excuses that they want. Don't act like idiots. Don't resort to violence. And as much as, and anybody sitting there saying there's no other way out, well, I consider you to be a mole of the government. Anybody out there promoting violence, I consider to be a false flag flying, whatever you want to call it, infiltrator, agent provocateur, agitator who works for Justin Trudeau or Joe Biden and the government. Don't. Because the DePops of the world who do these things and use that rhetoric allow everybody out there to then dismiss anybody who uses the rhetoric but says stay peaceful and change minds through words and action, but not violence. As I always say, everybody, fight in a way that is righteous, that would make your parents, your children, and your pets proud, and you can do no wrong. But simply sitting there and saying, have faith, things will work themselves out, well, that doesn't always work. So with that said, everybody, go enjoy the weekend, enjoy Salty Cracker, enjoy whatever it is you're going to do. The football game, from what the chat was saying, it was great. But before that, I'm going to play you 2 minutes of this. And then you're going to go on and watch the rest of it on Viva Family, where, I like to get my cathartic release of all that is good out. Enjoy this. See you all tomorrow. Oh, Sunday night stream tomorrow night with Barnes. And I might go live during the day. We'll see. But next week, Konstantin Kisin is on the 2nd. On the 3rd, a special guest to be announced, and it's going to be amazing. And we'll see who else I get next week. It's going to be a big week. Last week, I interviewed Alex Jones Wednesday night, Jimmy Dore Thursday, and Tyler Fisher Friday. Tyler Fisher, that interview, that discussion, I think is the one I'm most proud of for a long time. Go check it out. It'll blow your mind, and it will open up your heart, open up your soul. It's amazing. Tyler Fisher was on Friday. Go check it out. Jimmy Dore was on Thursday. It was amazing. Alex Jones on Wednesday. Next week is going to be just as big, just as good. Enjoy this, and I'll see you tomorrow, people. If you're watching this video, it's because the kayak fit in the car, and I'm taking it kayaking on the ocean. I bought this kayak about 5 months ago. Haven't used it yet because I've been told by people not to go kayaking on the local ponds and canals because there's alligators, David. An alligator's going to get you. There are no alligators in the ocean. I'm going kayaking, and I'm going to get the winning GoPro shot this year with my GoPro. For those of you who don't know, GoPro every year, hashtag not an ad, runs the $1 Million GoPro challenge, where people submit video clips with the latest version of the GoPro. And if GoPro selects it to be in their commercial, you get your share of $1 million. I won the first year with a 2-second clip of my kid at the beach. I got 1/54th of $1 million, which translated into like $18,000. I was invited to Vegas to go talk to GoPro at the CES conference there. It was amazing.
Wait for it. That's
There
my
we go.
boy.
That's my boy. I have been obsessed with winning it again, submitting every year, but I'm going out. This year, I'm going to win the thing. I'm going to win it. I'm going to go out now in the kayak. I've been shooting, in other circumstances, videos, which I think might have a chance of winning. Pelicans, pecking away at the GoPro. Iguanas crawling into underground sewer tubes. Okay, we're just going to go like this. We'll see. But today, I'm going kayaking. Let's see how this works.